So Doubt to Dedication is not just for a healing journey. It's really for any kind of projects in your life. So where you procrastinate, where you keep pushing it back. So it helps. People don't need to come with a specific health intention or with a specific problem.
My name is Torsten Lueddecke, and this is the Wisdom Qigong Uncovered podcast.
Welcome everyone to today's episode of the Wisdom Qigong Uncovered podcast. I've got Leilah Cupido with us today from Italy, although she is based in South Africa, and Heather Bourne from Switzerland. And the two of you have partnered up. I think you guys have met some time ago in the Hunyan Chi therapy program, right? Because you're both Hunyan Chi therapists. And I would like to add that, Heather, you also run a successful practice in TCM in Switzerland, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And you met each other and it clicked. And then you decided to basically revolutionize what has been on offer in Zhineng Qigong. And this is what we're going to talk about today. So maybe you give me a small introduction into what it is you're actually doing.
So we ran a workshop called or titled From Doubt to Dedication. So as the name suggests, we aim to take people from doubt to dedication with Zhineng Qigong techniques. And Heather introduces wonderful TCM techniques. And really we facilitate a process of physical, mental, emotional, self-sustainability, if that makes sense. That's what we aim to do.
The first thing that comes to mind, I'm thinking of intention. Is this a way of saying, okay, we all know how important intention is in life and in Zhineng Qigong in particular, but often when we have an intention or we think we have intention, we are not 100% sure, which is the doubt. And you have developed your basic ideas around that to make sure that this intention is clear, set, focused, and bringing the results that you would like.
Yeah, so I can comment on that. So basically, the whole idea of the workshop came from our own experience, and we noticed that in our practice, sometimes we're more dedicated than other times, and we wondered what can help us in that process of becoming more and more dedicated. And so the first step, so we developed like a 7-step journey. So actually, the workshop was offered first online, as on a 7-day long time period. And the first step is making the decision, so setting your intention. And then, of course, doubt creeps in. You set your intention, you have good intentions, and then doubt creeps in, and then emotions creeps in, and then you oscillate between your determination. Are you really that determined or not? And then discipline comes in. How can you be disciplined in a Zhineng Qigong sense, which means also allowing for flexibility and flow, and then to come to a place of dedication. And of course, intention is the first step in our 7-step journey. Yeah.
Why don't you share a little about your own experience when you said this was the starting point, because you had your own experiences that you were in doubt, weren't quite sure. And then what did you do to overcome that?
So I can share that when you set an intention in Zhineng Qigong, we have the mindset, Haola, it's already successful, it's already done. And my experience, and also my experience with the patients I work with, is that when you don't see with your or sense a direct change, you start doubting, right? So you set an intention that your shoulders are more flexible, and then you try the next day and you're still blocking. And so we all have these experiences, because at least my experience is that it's not a miraculous cure. Zhineng Qigong takes time, takes practice, takes dedication. And it's moving from wanting to see a specific result straight away and understanding with the principles of Zhineng Qigong, of TCM, that it's so multifactorial. Your progress, your evolution, your health is influenced by so many aspects that you have to trust, you have to build this trust that what you're doing is contributing to your intention. And that's where, for me, the journey is. It's really in this trust. And we talk about that in the workshop. How do you build that trust? How do you move from a place of doubt to trusting yourself, trusting the process? And it's, the journey becomes very fascinating.
For me, that brings me straight to the core of one of the main topics I often hear within the Zhineng Qigong community, because as you rightly pointed out, in Zhineng Qigong, we have this idea, we don't connect to the problem or the disease or whatever there is, we connect to the healthy state. So if you have this idea in mind, I am already healthy, but my body tells me otherwise because I can feel the pain or I can feel the problem. This kind of creates a dissonance, a cognitive dissonance. And many, many people struggle with that and say, okay, now how do I bridge that cognitive dissonance? That on the one hand, I'm supposed to see myself as healthy, yet my experience gives me a completely different story here. So if we could explore this a little further, then I think that would be very helpful for the audience, and maybe shed some light into what you're doing exactly in the workshop so that people overcome this issue.
So we do bring it up. We have a whole day dedicated to this topic. And this is the part where we talk about discipline in Zhineng Qigong and how you can be disciplined with your intention and with your goal, even with your posture. You can have the perfect posture, but relaxation and the freeness within that discipline is equally important. Imagine doing Chen Qi for 35 minutes without having a relaxation as a key aspect of Chen Qi. So we do it in a way that we practice, and the philosophy of Zhineng Qigong gets mirrored through the practice, and people can incorporate it that way. But also then it's easier for people to incorporate it into their own lives, into their own intentions and what they set out for themselves. And personally, I like to think of intention as simply this little seed that you plant, that you water every day, that you take care of, you cultivate, and it can change. It doesn't have to be so structured, so disciplined. It has freedom to move and evolve just as you do. So that's one of the things that we talk about in our workshop as well.
So like Leilah said, we use a practical example. So we use practices of Zhineng Qigong in the workshop. So we start with like La Qi, 5 minutes, Shen Qi, 5 minutes, and we build it up throughout the process. And when we start, for people who are new to Zhineng Qigong and you do 5 minutes of Shen Qi, it's already a big challenge. And then when we progress, we end up at the end of the week with doing 35 minutes of Shen Qi. And so they see through what we talk about, through also creating the Qi field, that you can, achieve your intention. It's actually supported by the process. And also what I like to share about visualizing yourself healthy, which is the difficult thing sometimes for people. It's like we talk about the Qi field, of course, in the workshop. And so if you can imagine yourself integrated in a Qi field, and you can visualize yourself as a healthy person, completely structures, functions of the body, abilities completely normal, beautiful body, beautiful mind, beautiful open heart. You visualize this. As soon as you can visualize it, it exists. It's a reality. It's a potentiality that exists in the Qi field. And then all the steps that you do bring you closer to this, manifesting this potentiality. But when you understand the science between the science of the Qi field, of Zhineng Qigong science, you really integrate this notion in a deeper way.
Imagine a tool where you will learn the basics of Zhineng Qigong in 101 lessons
Hello, everyone.
Hoy, realmente tu práctica es muy excelente.
and discover 4,000 years of ancient Chinese wisdom. Available in English,
Before we talk about Zhineng Qigong specifically,
Spanish,
La palabra Qigong se compone de dos partes.
German,
Qigong ist also nicht nur eine Reihe von Übungen.
and Dutch.
Historisch gezien bestaan Qigong-praktijken in vele omgevingen.
You can use it as a simple web page or like an app on your phone on the go, where you connect and communicate with teachers of your choice. And find workshops worldwide. Welcome to myqigong.com, brought to you by the Zhineng Qigong Students Hub, for free.
It's actually interesting when you talk about the possibility, because it reminds me obviously of quantum physics, because there are so many parallels that in quantum physics, like all possibilities are there at the same time. And in a way, this is what you are doing there as well. Through the visualization, you're creating a different or a new possibility for a health or for whatever your goal might be in the workshop or in life. And because this possibility is there, it also means it can turn into the reality. So basically, the old reality of not having achieved your goal or not being healthy or whatever is overcome by manifesting this new possibility that you have created and visualized. Is that kind of the idea here?
This workshop is structured in such a beautiful way that we can incorporate our own learnings, the things we've learned into it. And it's supported by Zhineng Qigong, and we can teach it to other people. And I think that's maybe why they relate to it so much. But just something about my own intention. Because of this workshop and because of the work we do, even because of Zhineng Qigong and meeting you, Torsten, my life is completely different. And I can say that's because of an intention 2 years ago. I would never have imagined being in Tuscany with my dear friend Eugenio Giusti, with Heather just across the street, basically. And 2 years ago, I was stuck in a room, in the Cape Flats, a really impoverished area with very limited resources. So to be here is already dedication.
Well, I had the pleasure to experience some of your dedication firsthand, because some of the audience might know we used to work together for some years, I think until a year ago or something like that, or 1.5 years ago, and the dedication there at this point was already visible even before you knew Zhineng Qigong. So there must be something within you that you basically just awakened and made stronger along this path. Is that so, or how would you describe the path that you have gone, in particular when it comes to dedication?
I agree with that, Torsten, but only because I think it's such a universal thing. It's called wisdom Qigong for a reason, because it's things that you already know, things that you already do, things that you just have to refine and maybe just learn a bit more of the theory so that you can cultivate these things for yourself. And Zhineng Qigong personally gave me, the means of cultivation.
So I can talk about the doubt aspect, because in that day where we focus on doubt creeping in, we talk about all the emotions. And of course, this is an important topic in TCM and in Zhineng Qigong. Right. And I like the aspect of the workshop where we understand that our emotions are there to move us, right? That's why they're called emotions. They are here to move us in a direction. So they're not there to be repressed or to be ignored. And really understanding, according to TCM, what each emotion is there for, in terms of what is exactly is asked to be moved inside of you through this emotion. And understanding that moves you also in a place of more empowerment. Then you can see, okay, you can take a bit of a step back and you detach from the story, and then you move into a place of the observer. Okay, I'm being moved by anger now. This is asking for me to be more creative because that's the energy that's coming from anger. And it really helps you become more in charge of your path, of your journey, rather than being victim of your emotions or victim of the circumstances. So that's a really pivotal point, I think, in the workshop.
Let me see whether I got this right, because some of the ideas you're presenting here are new to me. You're basically saying, and I love how the word emotion has motion in it. You're absolutely right. I never thought about that, but you've got a good point here. And are you saying that each emotion points to a certain direction I should take, or to a certain thing that I can discover something about myself and what I should do or how I should behave?
Yeah. So an emotion is there to bring about a movement of qi in the body. And the qi can move upwards, can move downwards, can move outwards, inwards. And you express this qi through different actions, for example. So, for example, the energy of the emotion of fear will ask you to take courageous action. This is what it's asking you to do. The energy of anger will ask you to be creative. It's this upward energy that's just asking to be released upward, but in a way that is fruitful for you.
So let me just go back to the doubts. So when I have doubts and I notice emotions, are they pointing to a certain direction of what I should do?
If you're able to take a step back and observe yourself, observe the emotion without getting involved in the story, then you can see for yourself what it's asking you, what it's asking of you.
All right. So if I say I've got this intention, which is really, a little bit scary, because I've taken I put the measure high up. Now I'm having this intention, and then fear comes in, doubt comes in terms of fear. It is clear that it encourages me to be more courageous in order to reach my intention, right? Is that in a simple way saying what is happening? And this is true for all the emotions that could come up.
Yes, exactly. And this is really, it's very personal. So for you, it might mean something slightly different, but the awareness of this emotion, the awareness and taking the observer seat helps you understand what it's asking of you. Yeah.
All right. And that is what in everyday life we're probably not doing. The doubt comes in. We can feel our emotions are like scattered. We don't feel good anymore, but we don't rise above it and try to create an awareness of what is this emotion exactly? Mm-hmm. What is it trying to tell me? And in which way can it help me to move from doubt to dedication, right?
Exactly.
And that's okay. And that's what you're practicing in the workshop, or this is the idea to explore in the workshop. Are you actually doing this with real life issues that people have, or is it more in an abstract way?
It's quite an abstract way, but of course we have time for sharing during the workshop. So then that evokes people's personal situations, and then we can work through that. Yeah.
I do think it's also quite personal. People are, courageous enough to share their really personal experiences, some related to death or family or illness. And, as soon as they take that step to be completely honest and open, it becomes so much easier. The process becomes easier. So we do hear a lot of personal things, and, we do our best to guide people through them. And, we're also open to being challenged, which I really love about this workshop. There's no hierarchy. We relate to people exactly as people, and we are people, and we're all on the same level. And so they are free to really, challenge us, ask us the demanding questions, and, we can answer them.
And of course, can I add something? I'm quite inspired. We practice, of course, La Qi as one of the basic fundamental practices of Zhineng Qigong. And of course, they can see also through these practices how the emotions are transformed. You set your intention that you harmonize your emotions, and through 20 minutes of Leilah Chi, they feel very peaceful. They realize the benefits of the methods. So that's the idea, really, is that they experience for themselves these tools, and they experience in that short time, either 7 days, or when we do it live, we do it over 2 days. They already can experience some benefits and some steps towards their intentions, realizing. So, yeah.
So how exactly do you integrate the different Qigong exercises into your conceptual framework here?
So, for example, when we talk of, we have one day, let me think, it's called developing the habit. And it's how do we, now that we have our intention, we've overcome our doubt, how do we make it continue,
Right.
And this, on this day in particular, we talk about joy as the highest form of Qigong, cultivating this habit of being joyful every day. And so then we can, for example, it's not easy for everyone to be joyful all the time. So we talk about heart stones, what's blocking us from feeling this joy. And through the practice of Leilah Chi, we can dissolve some of these heart stones. And so that's how we integrate it. So every topic we practice Leilah Chi or Shen Chi, and both. Actually, on most days we practice both. And then through these practices, we talk about the theoretical concepts that we have talked about during that day.
So it's really a Zhineng Qigong workshop. But what you have done is you've taken one of the most challenging topics for people in life and in Zhineng Qigong, and kind of integrated this into the Zhineng Qigong practice in order to resolve that topic from doubt, basically, to dedication, and how to get your intentions realized, right?
Yeah.
Good. You spoke about 7 steps in the beginning, Heather, and obviously I don't want to let you go off the hook without going through them a little bit. So let's just go back. And you said the first step is?
The first step is making the decision.
Right.
It was a D journey. Everything had to start with a D.
Okay. So decision is number 1. I think this is clear for everyone. I make a decision. I want to be healthy. I want to be rich. I want to be famous. Whatever people desire these days. Then the second step.
Leilah does generally the second step. So we've split in our favorite topics.
Let's go back to the first step quickly. That's important.
Please do.
The first step is making the decision. And here's where we really establish an intention. Here's where people establish an intention for themselves as well. And we use this as a real anchor for the rest of the days. And, they draw on it. I like to think of it as this northern light, that always guides you. And so intention is really important.
Great. That's step 1, and I totally agree. Step 2?
Step 2 is, it slips my mind.
Discipline.
Oh, yes, discipline. Discipline in practice. So this is the thing we spoke about earlier where, we teach discipline, but we also teach relaxation as the counterpart of discipline. And we use verses, Xing, Song, Yi, Chong, from the 8 verses to demonstrate this point, because it talks about the body being relaxed and how the mind expands when the body is relaxed. But, you can't really have one without the other, or the body would be too rigid, or the mind would be too loose. And so that's day 2.
Many people have a completely wrong idea of discipline. They think about it like it's forcing myself to do something, but it's actually the opposite. And we know from Zhineng Qigong and from TCM and from real life that forcing and applying pressure upon yourself is not healthy and is not working particularly well, particularly in the long term. So I like that you are unraveling the idea of discipline here as the second step, because discipline in the sense of sticking to something, continue with what you believe in, and following your intention is very important. But it's not about getting tense or applying pressure on yourself. So the third step then is.
Third step is the doubt. That's what we talked about earlier, where the emotions creep in. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah.
And then the doubt point is, as we spoke about, that you use the emotions to guide you, maybe to the fourth step, I'm guessing here, or?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And the fourth step, the fourth day is my favorite. Torsten, my favorite topic in Zhineng Qigong is detachment. So on the fourth day, we explore this. And that means, detaching from the story we tell ourselves, detaching from the illness or the negative information, even detaching from your intention, which is really interesting.
Right. It is interesting because now you are challenging people's ideas, right? Intention is so important and it sets everything. And yet, if you are attached to it, then you're basically, it's in your own way, right?
Maybe join the workshop, Torsten, and then you can have
Okay, but let us go into the detachment part a little bit more. Why is that so important in this process?
Lots of people also have misconceptions about detachment because they think it's isolation or, separation. But in the way we teach it, it's really not. It's simply like reframing yourself and, releasing your attachments. And this can be with really difficult topics as well, like death, for example, which brings up a lot of emotions and it stirs up a lot of things. And therefore, detachment is usually where people have this big emotional release as well. We've experienced it.
Okay. And that
for me, what comes up with the detachment as well, and what I observe also in the practice is, what are you when you're not ill? What are you when you're not unwell or when you don't have a story to tell? And this really makes you honestly look at yourself. It's like, actually, am I attaching to my condition? Because it actually brings me some form of comfort, some form of connection, and looking at that.
Or if it's only identity, because I'm identifying myself so much already with my condition, right?
Yeah. And being very honest with yourself in that sense, really going inside, looking at what do I look like in this new version of me without the illness? Am I still comfortable with it, or do I have am I refraining from getting there because then everything changes?
And I think it's very important. My guess is that around 30% of the cases, if people don't heal, this is the one reason. There is an attachment that they have to their illness, which is obviously, it doesn't make sense on a logical level because everybody wants to be healthy and they don't even know about it. But this is the reason why things are not moving. This is the reason why they don't turn this possibility of help into a reality. But in order to be able to do that, you need to uncover that. You need to be able to see, oh my God, I had no idea, but I'm actually attached in one way or another to my condition, because as you said, it's something I've gotten so used to, or how I see myself, or identify, how I talk about myself. Just if I hear some people talk about themselves, they talk as if they are the disease, rather than that this is just a condition they happen to have right now and it's going to be gone. It could be gone any other moment. So if I define myself as the disease, healing is nearly impossible. So I think it's an important step that you've integrated there for those people that are unaware that they are doing this. And then, this is the very one reason why they're not turning into the results that they would like to have.
And the beauty of the Zhineng Qigong, the La Qi method, is that you don't have to know what is blocking you. You don't have to, you simply have to have your intention and you practice. And that's my personal experience. I don't have to know what I'm releasing. I'm just setting the intention that I'm healthy. And then these layers, little by little, step by step, release and transform. And so that's, I find, the beauty in Zhineng Qigong. That's what we also want to to share when we do the workshop.
And I'm glad you're adding this, because I think this is a difference between what we are doing as Zhineng Qigong practitioners compared to maybe classical therapy or something like that, where people often have to go through the whole process and drama in order to release. In Zhineng Qigong, this is not necessary. So it can be far more gentle as a way to move on in life and to create the goals than having to go through this, these process of having to go through everything again and experience all the pain, which is obviously scaring people, because if you have trauma in your life, then you don't want to go through it again. And Zhineng Qigong is a great opportunity to find a path that is so gentle and so smooth and so loving that you don't have to do that.
I agree with what you both said completely, but I also have a little different experience. So I find that Zhineng Qigong is really the practice of, mental, physical, spiritual, all sorts of evolutions that you go through. And so within the practice, within the theory and, all of the methods that we do, I find myself becoming more aware, there's little sparks that form. And with this newfound awareness, I can treat myself better and I can move better. So yes, you don't need to always know what's going on, but Zhineng Qigong definitely helps you know as well.
Right. And that's absolutely right. I think it's your ENT is getting sharper. You pick up information that before wasn't there. When you say you've got these sparks and suddenly you see something, but you see it more as an insight rather than having to go or relive a trauma. That was my point there. It is really, you are getting more awake about who you are, what you're doing in your life, uncovering what's not working, what is working, and then from there on you can take the decisions. I totally agree with that, Leilah. We are on the same line there. I forgot to count the steps. Which steps are we at? Are we already at the last one?
We were at detachment. Then we have developing the habit is the next step.
Good.
And that's about how do we move our practice forward? How do we keep a joyful heart, even on the days where we feel we're not progressing? And again, supported by La Qi and Shen Qi.
Wonderful. And I think it's great that that this is a separate topic, because we don't want people to go through a workshop and then later on that was like a peak experience in their life, but they go back and everything is just as it was before the workshop. The idea is obviously, what is the word you used? To
developing the habit.
Developing the habit.
Yeah.
You're so good with all the D's. It's amazing.
It was our EUNT picked that up. That was not planned, but it just ended up that way.
Throughout the workshop, we give people little tools that they can use, that they can also just, quickly use for their daily life. And we reinforce this throughout the whole 7 days or throughout the whole 2 days. And so it becomes even easier.
Great. So when they go back home, they have a tool set that they can use. And and because it's little things also, it's easy. You don't have to go back, study books before you can move on. You probably have got these little things available. And I'm so glad, Leilah, that you are with Eugenio, because I think he is the expert in being joyful and cultivating this habit. So you're exactly with the right person here in Italy at the moment.
Yes. And just to add, we don't forget having fun.
Okay, good.
That's
I can see
really
that.
important. We have lots of fun practices that we do, like spotting the color blue, or laughing gong, or doing something really that makes people joyful.
And we are moving to the last point, the last step, right?
So there's 2 more steps.
2 more.
Yeah. So the 6th one is determination through flexibility and flow. So here's where we teach people to be, determined like a stick, but also for them to bend with the wind. Right. So it mirrors day 2, a discipline in practice. Yeah. And here we teach people about all of the different alternatives they can use. We teach people variations of La Qi for different needs.
Got it. So it's like closing the loop from the second step to there. After everything you've learned, you're taking up the idea again, but coming from a different angle this time. And great. Point 7.
And the last one is, of course, dedication. And
of course, down to dedication. How could I miss that?
And dedication, the main point there is to understand that it's an act of self-love. When you dedicate yourself to yourself, you're improving your own personal life, but you're also improving the life of people around you. And so at the same time as being an act of self-love, it's an act of altruism. So your practice is positive for everyone.
Right.
And so then that's the notion of a chi field, that we are one, we are all connected. Your progress is my progress. Your evolution mirrors my evolution. And it's hopefully an upward spiral of positivity. Yeah.
And
I personally, sorry, Leilah, I'm not a friend with the word self-love, because as you just explained, due to the oneness, there is no such thing for me as self-love. It's love. And if you're a loving person, then, it shows up everywhere. And in this case, because you will start the work with yourself, basically, but that's the only thing you do. It is love, and that will obviously benefit the wholeness. So everyone else as well. But Leilah, you wanted to add something here, right?
No, I was also going to say that in day 7, this is usually where we prepare people even more for moving on, for being without us after practicing with us for a whole week. And we talk about things like, this new phase of healing that people might have. Because when you enter healing, or when you enter a new phase, it might be unfamiliar. And maybe the first reaction is to push it away, or to, be discouraged by it, to be uncomfortable. But then we teach people in this final day to sit with this, to give it space, to give it time, to trust their practice, to trust themselves, and to embrace.
Now, that was lovely to talk to you, and it was fun, and it was joyful. So you have already taught me something just through this podcast while doing this podcast. Just a quick question. You mentioned you offering this online, which is the 7-day training, as far as I would understand. And then you also do on-site trainings, which probably happen in Switzerland from time to time, right?
Yeah, so the next one will be in August, on the 15th of August in Switzerland, because Leilah is still in Europe. So we take the opportunity to do it together live. And then in autumn, we'll do a rendition online again.
Great. And then there's the next one coming in Cape Town, right, Heather? So that you have an opportunity to travel there.
Yes, that would be amazing. No, can I just add something also? Sure. So Doubt to Dedication is not just for a healing journey. It's really for any kind of projects in your life. So where you procrastinate, where you keep pushing it back. So it helps. People don't need to come with a specific health intention or with a specific problem. It might be just like their way of being is just to procrastinate about projects. They might not want to do it. Or it could be also aimed at people who support people, who are coaches or therapists in completely different fields. It's really universal in the sense that it can help, anyone in a given situation.
Thank you for bringing that up, because so often when we talk about Zhineng Qigong, we only focus on health and on well-being, but it's actually the Zhineng Qigong science is true for the whole of life, not just for the physical or emotional health. It's true for everything. And so I'm glad you're bringing this up in particular, as it's about reaching goals, and that can be outside of the health topics. So everybody's welcome who feels like, okay, this could move them to the next level. And I think this is basically, anyone. I mean, who wouldn't want that for their lives and for their loved ones? Obviously, I'm going to put in the captions all the information how people can reach you, and then I hope that many will accept the invitation and join you. I think you've shown in this podcast that you're amazing people to be around, and to spend some hours and days with. So thank you very much, both of you, for joining me today. And I wish you a beautiful day further. And I'm sure I'll see you around somewhere in the world very soon.
Yeah, and thank you for giving us the opportunity, because we're super passionate about the workshop. We really enjoy doing it together. So thank you for giving us the floor for that.
It's a pleasure.
We trust you enjoyed this conversation, and we invite you to subscribe to our podcast so we can stay in touch and notify you of future episodes. We will end today's episode with the 8 verses meditation performed by Zhineng Qigong teacher Katrin Hendricks. Enjoy. To get your free ebook on the 8 verses meditation, please check the show notes below.